Welcome back, everyone, to Rebirth, a D&D Tale. Where we had left off, Arya was getting smacked around a little bit by a god who may appreciate her defiance, but definitely wants her soul. You can definitely see that in his eyes, Arya, as he takes his swipes at you. But I believe that does complete his turn, so it would be yours next.
All right. So the portal is active.
Yes.
Great.
The dragon hasn't gone through yet with all of your friends.
No. I'm squaring up with this god and I'm looking him in the eyes. And I'm saying quite simply.
The one eye, anyway.
At the one eye. Him and his one old bug eye. You can't have what you desire. Because in the end, all you are, what you've ever been, is something of entropy. You won't last. But everything that defies you will always return. Through Zuviwow, there will always be rebirth. And, I'm gonna point to the cultists. Get out! Now! Go! Order them to get the fuck out, and I'm gonna turn to this guy and I'm gonna start blasting.
Okay, what you blasting him with?
We will start with this. The one thing I know how to blast with best. Fireball, but I'm just considering whether or not I want to change his damage type. Because I can do that. Sorcery points. Yeah. Let's see. Sorcery points. Sorcery points. Acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison, thunder. This is going to be a wild one, but actually no, fire will do. Fire will do because I already have radiant damage active because
Divine Sorcerer shenanigans?
Yeah. Let me see. Oh, wait. My wings were taken away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is going to be a question to you, then. Would you allow me for this one time to change the fireball to radiant damage? I don't know if it's going to have any greater or lesser effect. I just think it'd be fun.
I have something for this.
I trust you. Let's run it.
So.
All right.
How is it that you call upon your fireball? How
It's
do you
like
make that
it's like from
connection?
Dragon Ball Z. She just like raises her hands and the flame just sparks and begins to twist in this elemental chaos, growing in intensity until the entire area is just burning. There's particles lifting from the ground. It's like the fucking spirit bomb from Dragon Ball Z. And she's just gonna suicide bomb her, both of them, right there.
Okay. You reach out to your own divine nature.
Mhm.
Your connection to the land you know, the land that sustains you and your magic. And you pull in as much life energy as there possibly is in this place, which is very little. But you pour yourself into this sort of radiant ball that's forming above your head.
Mm-hmm.
And when and when you look to your side, there's a masked face next to you, also pouring energy into this ball. Black hair, porcelain face. And she tells you, now. And in an instant, this flash goes off. You're not sure if you're caught at it. You're not sure if your friends are caught at it. You're not sure if the entity in front of you was caught at it. All you know is that your vision goes white. You feel yourself being dragged away as you're blinded. You feel a whoosh over yourself as you're sucked into something. And when you open your eyes, you see your friends. You see Alira. You see Lagon. You see Vanya. You see Karobe. You see the cultists that you urge to get into this portal. You don't see the god. You don't see Mercury. And before you is a vast field of ice. And the woman who was next to you, standing in front of you all. And I think that's where we're going to take our real break. And when we come back, we'll get things rolling again. So, be right back, everybody. Welcome back, everyone, to Rebirth, a D&D Tale. And where we had left off, the Lucky Sevens had been in a conflict with an entity that referred to itself as Death. Others called him the Whispered One. The site of the ritual taking place in a place devoid of life, atop a tower where living beings, mortals, were being brought and consumed by this entity. Finding that it was not at all feasible to defeat him in this state, he'd grown too powerful even for being diminished. The Lucky Sevens opened a portal, and during a cascade of brilliant light to illuminate this darkness, to distract, destroy something, this entity. As the light blinded each of you, you felt this sucking feeling, as if you were being pulled, drawn, somewhere, almost against your will. But any place had to be better than where you were. And when your vision clears, you find yourself standing in a field covered in ice, dimly lit, but stars speckling the sky above you, which is a much more appealing sight to see than the void of darkness above you before. It's as if grass, a lake, a valley, a mountainous mountainous region with a large crystalline gate standing before you is covered in pure reflective ice. The ice kind of glitters in the dim light that is present here. You see all around you kind of wisps of cold floating by. And a woman standing in a black dress, a large scythe at her back, long black hair and feathers, almost like Lagon's new armor, sort of draped along the front. A porcelain mask for her face. And what little you see of her skin is pale. What do you do?
Vanya's first thing is, after getting her bearings, she's beelining straight for Arya.
I was about to say the exact same thing.
There's like a range of emotions on her face because she doesn't know whether to be worried, happy, or fucking pissed that Arya would pull that. But instead of just saying anything, she's going to scoop her up and just hold her tightly the second she gets there.
And Arya, same thing, just beelining for Vanya and holding her as tight as she can. Whispering softly in her ear, just, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Lagon has kind of fell to one knee and seems to have lowered his head in reverence of this person.
Am I the only one who doesn't know who this person is? And why are you getting down on your... Is this some kind of royalty?
Always the curious one. Alira Miriel.
You must be one of the shopkeepers who we met when we first entered riding. I'm sorry. Service to others, they look very similar to one another. I'm sorry I didn't recognize you before.
You are amusing. You can hear almost a smile, even though the mask's face with the lips doesn't smile at all.
Yeah, the mask is very disconcerting. Not used to dealing with individuals without a face. Usually they're coming to assassinate someone or... No, that's about it.
Trust me, if you were to see my face, it would be the last thing you ever saw.
See? An assassin. I appreciate a true professional.
In a sense. I am the Raven Queen.
Slowly to Lagon. At this point is perched in reverence. Then slowly back to the figure. And there's a small pause before she ends up immediately in almost a panic, dropping to a knee in the like double checking that the pose is right. Is like holding the knee with 3 fingers, just in an utter like silent panic.
Arya is going to look up from Vanya's shoulder. You saved us. I saw you right before we ended up here. Why?
I would also say that saved is also a misnomer. As I could only pull you here in the only way you could come here. You are dead.
Narya's just going to look at everyone. You said even the cultists are here that were on my side, allied with me, and I'm like, oh. Well. I see. But we're not dead like the other death wanted us dead.
No.
Okay.
He would have absorbed your souls, become part of him, and you would never exist.
I apologize. I think this, she taps on the headpiece that she wears that allows her to understand languages. Perhaps it's on the fritz. I'm unsure. We're dead, but not dead. We're not undead.
No. You are dead,
And
as you would be in your home world. Your spirit has been separated from your bodies. You no longer have bodies. They were destroyed in the blast.
Oh.
So, there is a choice to make. And if you'll come with me. She starts walking towards this gate that stands in front of a vast sort of scape of mountains and valleys and all sorts of other places beyond it.
Okay. I do not let go of Anya's hands.
Bonnie's just refusing to let go of her.
I'm sorry. When I saw what was happening, I started making all of these connections. The portals, the other worlds. Hell, even causes blades. Every person that we met that was part of this cult, there had to be some way to stop it. Some way to divert what was happening.
So you and Kurobe decided to infiltrate.
Yes. And Mercury was... she was the easiest way through.
You beautiful, foolish woman.
There's more to it. There's so much more, and there's so much I want to try and explain that I found through this, but I give like a hesitant look at the Raven Queen before returning to Vanya. I don't know. I just don't know what to say. I feel like I might have failed. I didn't want you to... I mean, it was dumb of me to think that you wouldn't try to follow or find us. But I just didn't think it would go that far.
It's the bad part about trying to plan something. You can't account for everything. Of course we'd follow you. You had to have known that one.
I did.
Me and Kaz? Even if everyone else hadn't followed us, the two of us would have come after you. Let you go.
Kaz kind of pipes up. As strong as that guy was, do you think we wouldn't leave you alone, right?
No. No, I guess not. I just didn't really think that in the end, everyone would still die.
She's gonna rest her forehead on Arya's. We were against a god of death. We knew what we were getting into. We knew it was a possibility. And we all did what we did anyway. It was worth it.
I guess it definitely beats being part of whatever the hell that thing was, so.
I'm for damn sure. This place looks a hell of a lot better.
Arya's gonna take Kaz's hands and pull both of them into a hug and maybe shed some silent tears for a second before turning out and saying, I'm sorry I left.
Well,
Took you as forever.
After the stunt you just pulled, you are forgiven, love. Because even though this was the result of that, Jesus, that had to, if not destroyed a good portion of that spot. It had to do a massive amount of damage and hopefully set him back a while.
Kurobe and I were trying to take his own followers away from him. Give them something else. Anything else. You'd be surprised how many we actually managed to get through to.
Which is a valiant effort, the Raven Queen pipes up. Selfless. Courageous, maybe stupid. The lives that you saved will definitely be counted amongst those who pass through my gates. Once they're ready. However, there have been thousands more that have been consumed. And it's not the first god to consume those which worship them. At least here, in my Cabal Macabre, those who wish to find their gods beyond the gate will. Or suffer damnation should they be cursed to do so. So, your choice is, where shall I sort you? Or do you want to go back? And if you go back, do you want it strong enough?
There's a way back.
Only one. And that is to accept a contract. With me. I do not require your soul. I will sort you where you belong, as I always would have. But it requires change. Arya, you and Karobe are already on the verge of divineness. You are the embodiment of the Wild Mother, and he the vessel of Bahamut. With divine purpose. The Wild Mother gave me this chance once. And when my task was complete, I returned to her. She gave me this task.
You and the shepherd both.
Yes.
I've lost a world once. I've lost the entirety of my world once to something far more hideous and incomprehensible than I could have ever imagined. What I am now is the result of a promise. Rune cared about this world. And I care about this world. The material world and what's in it. I wouldn't do such stupid shit all the time if I didn't. So, I would like to go back. And as I told the Wild Mother, I'll finish what I started. I'll finish what Rune started.
Your spirits are intertwined. What happens to you happens to him. They're no longer separate.
No. He's been here the whole time. Narya's gonna put her hand to the gem on her chest. And it glows and beats with a flame deep inside of it.
Well, I can't necessarily let you go back alone now, can I? I've got my own promises to keep anyway. I got a brother whose ass I've got to kick and get out of trouble. And I'm not done with this just yet. Aside from that, there's someone I want to officially tie myself to. Someone I want to marry before this entire thing goes to hell and back.
Huh?
Alright, when we get back, marry me.
Yes! Yes! Oh god, yes! She just runs, jumps, lunges onto Vanya, and just kisses her all over her face.
Alira,
Yes.
do you wish to go back?
I'm still grasping the concept that I'm dead. A second chance. I would be foolish enough to reject that. Yeah. This is not what I expected to see when I separated from the mortal coil.
What did you expect?
I don't know. But I've seen too that have found some degree of happiness even in death. Well, for myself, should I be in awe that I am before the Raven Queen herself? In a moment of divine interaction, I am horrified to realize I feel empty. To look at this place of wonders and feel nothing. And all I can think is we couldn't do it then. Dying in the attempt. What do I take from this, even if I were to go back? Would it be a fleeting moment? What would it be for? And I struggle.
You struggle.
I struggle. Go ahead.
You struggle with the fact that I haven't declared my terms to you yet.
You may have ensnared my soul. But I am not yours.
No.
Nor could ever be.
No, that belongs to Loth.
Yet I have no tongue for prayer. I have no tongue for speaking with the divine. I find myself at a loss. And all I can feel at this exact moment is a want to rage. Even if it were for nothing.
A rage against
small of
who?
a- I do not know. But I feel it. In a dead heart, I still feel rage. Not the kind of a roaming barbarian frothing at the mouth with guttural screams that would shake mountains. No, it's something much colder. And I'm unsure. Perhaps simply the steps we take towards our own deaths. I never thought I would have to consider it once it happened, that would actually be something on my mind. Yet here I am, supposedly. It is not natural when presented with a choice. I am left with conflict.
This choice does not need to be made in haste.
Alas, it's not my choice to make. It's already been made for me. She looks at the two lovers holding each other. It was already made for me.
Your companions do not control you. As I said, this has to be a want of your own making. You cannot be dragged away from this place by your friend's means. I am simply offering you a way to destroy him. To seal him behind this very gate. And she points to the crystal and icy gate that stands before you all now. That he may never reign again. His abyss was meant to be his prison, but he has made it into his court.
It's so easy to simply say yes. You say I have to end up wanting it.
Yes.
She just kind of sit herself down on the floor, pulling her knees into her chest. I'm looking out at this door of frigid steel, ice, and crystalline, as clear as glass.
Should you decide to cross the gate, I will be on the other side for you. Should you decide to go back, then when you have been able to remake yourself, the door will open. You decide. And she goes towards the gate and enters in through a door in it. Leaving you all to deliberate your choice.
Well, as the person partially running cause, I feel like I get the feeling that he feels very dutiful about the whole Blades
Yeah,
of Chaos thing.
Yeah.
Same with Lagon.
They're not here, they don't get a choice.
Wah, wah.
But Arya will probably sit down next to Vanya. Crossing her legs and leaning back on her palms.
And as you're sitting, you do see that there are these wisps of cold that kind of drift along this path that you're kind of sitting on, and one by one sort of filter through. The gate doesn't open necessarily, but just kind of filter through the gate as you sit and wait or sit and think.
I never asked you before. And it's strange that I never did, because you were the only person who really saw it differently. This undead thing. You raised them. I never asked, really, what you expected. Or rather, how you saw death. I understood what it meant to you, in a more practically speaking sense. He said, this isn't what you expected. What were you expecting?
I believe that was a question posed to Alira.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. The need to go forward is not that of choice, but of duty. To quote, you have to want.
Duty can very easily be a want.
No. It is you enacting a will of another. That is not a want you bring, but a wish of another upon you. But for this to work, it has to be a want. But my duty has bound me to you all. I have followed, escorted, and assisted in every way I could, as was requested. I have tried to create bonds as you surface dwellers do. Even in a place so alien, my own home. But what I want, that has never once been a factor for as long as I've known you. And now, when the journey requires want, I am at a loss. Even if I were to say I want to follow you to fulfill my duty, is that truly my want, or is that simply habit? Is that a choice, or is it me simply letting someone else make the choice because that is easier? Or is it the more noble thing? And I find myself at a loss. When I was at my first 100th birthday, I remember I was first foraging out in the caves just outside the city. My eyes were to be on the lookout for the illithids and their ilk, trace their movements. I was the eyes to my city. An important duty, but not one of choice. When I took up the position to end up continuing, it was in duty to my house, but not by choice. When I was freed of that stasis pod, I was duty-bound to return to the city to report. But again, not by choice. When I looked at the court and knew that you would be trying to reach the surface, I offered to guide you, because that was the duty of my house and its position. When I said I would follow you and guide you and join you in your adventures, I was to fulfill the promise I had made to my queen. Even when I stopped caravans, battled dragons. I assisted you in combat as a woman at arms, and yet that was duty again. At what point can I truly say I have ever did what I wanted? Do I even know what that means anymore? And yet to you, surface dweller, I'm sure it seems so obvious. Probably snickering in your heart at this moment just because foolish little head. No, I won't go further than that.
Does it look like I'm snickering?
It seems to be what you do best. Frolic, find yourselves in a crow's nest. When I heard of that night, I was glad to end up knowing that finding such a escape. And for as much as I have grown attached to you all, that's not what's being brought into question. And when asked, realizing you don't have an answer for something that should be so obvious, I'm at a loss. Utter loss.
Maybe you're right. I don't know what it's like to be duty-bound like that. I know what has been forced upon me, what has been expected of me. A court that ruled with absolution. And all I am now is want. And every little impulse that follows that. Because I don't understand, I guess, what duty means in that regard. But I do know I have one. Now. And I do know that there are things that I still want. I suppose, for you, a complete contrast. Maybe you can begin to want things.
He reaches into her pocket, looks at a single gold coin. Its make has markings you probably have never seen. She just rolls it in her fingers for a moment. Even things I want. I'm unsure if that's my want. How perplexing and vexing is that? If you're unsure if the thing you envision is truly what you want. I watch you surface dwellers, and you live moment to moment with no regard for what's in the next 100 years or what to be doing with your time to prepare for it. And then I have to remember that you live, many of you, such short lives. So much so some of you can't even plan for the frost. Because making it that far seems like a distant dream. To be in that moment, without restriction and without regard, and somehow keeping a peace. It's not something I understand. I once shared a conversation with your beloved of the House of Maria, and its rise and fall. Now, a minor house in the grand scheme of things, a forgotten footnote of history, scraping and scrambling. And I ask myself, what I want to build, is that something I want, or is that something that I'm simply building for a house whose time it may have long passed? And yet, in this exact moment, we are talking about returning back to life as though second chances were something that you can just run across. And so, on this coin, I think back to the risks taken by my forebears, my greatest of grandmothers, when they first dared to go to the surface before the time of giants and dragons. And at the first, their raids would bring them such coin, with such wonders and never seen before. And that became the foundation of our strength. And when the giants and dragons came, wonders ceased. The coin stopped. The favors, the dance of the politics of the Queen's court had shifted, and Lolth had changed her gaze, softened it. She bid her people to bury themselves deeper underground. And we were left like a carcass. Nature abhors that which just returns, that never takes its place in the proper cycle. Considered abhorrent. And here I feel as though my mind is a child of two worlds. The beast would gnaw its own leg off to escape a trap. And yet I am more trapped than the beast because I am unsure of my own will. Makes me lesser than a beast. Lesser than a surface dweller in many's eyes, I presume. At least the surface dwellers fought with conviction before they were broken. I'm wondering if I was just crafted broken. My thoughts fly from one end to the next, and yet remain undecided. Because I can't answer a question a child should be able to. Because if want is what is being discussed. More the fool am I. She throws the coin, lets it scatter on the ground, vanishing, I imagine, since they're dead. That's not an actual object in her possession.
Vanya's gonna walk over and stand in front of her. Kneel down a little bit. Do you want to find out? Do you want the chance to find out what your wants are? What your desires are?
The Raven Queen spoke very much of conviction. What you're proposing is an exploration of indecisiveness. I don't think that is the sort of will that will pull us through the challenges ahead if she is being forthright.
It's pulled us through quite a bit already, hasn't it?
No. You have. Your wanderlust and need to constantly chase after the curve, this cult, this thing. Between that and your need to meddle with almost everything, I find that most admirable. I simply follow along.
If I know anything from Lagan, God's forbid Cypher, the want to explore that will be enough. But it's up to you. So do you want to find out what your wants actually are?
Are you willing to?
If that's what you want, we'll be with you on that journey. As long as you want us to be. And she's going to hold her hand out to her.
Takes a moment as she looks at Anya's hand. Eventually, she does take it, pulling herself up. The look of uncertainty upon her face. I suppose this is what they call a leap of faith.
Everything we do from here out is a leap of faith. But we are the lucky sevens. And that includes you.
It is an unlucky number.
And somehow we always manage to pull through. Meddling, not meddling.
Well, best not keep existence waiting.
With that, I think we're going to call the session there for the night. So, what this does, mechanically, opens up an opportunity for you, if you desire it, to respec your character. At your current
Oh, hell yeah.
at your current level, in the multi-class or single class of your choice. You may change your race. You may change your class. You may change your subclass. You may change nothing at all. But that is how you are remaking yourself in this new arc. And with that is going to come instructions on how you are meant to defeat this god of death. Using your new divineness.
Oh boy. Coffee, you know what kind of person I am. You can feel it. You're like, oh, I know what Spectre needs right now. A re-up. All right.
Well, this is in the same veins as Maddie has done for our characters previously in the previous iterations of this campaign. And so, by being God-touched in the ways that you are now, you have the opportunity to remake yourself as you see fit, having come from a divine plane and gone through the trials and tribulations of a hell plane.
Sorry, Maddie just dropped
Maddie.
something in the chat.
Yeah. God damn it, Maddie, but also thank you.
Can I use these?
Right. Hang on.
He put in the Discord game chat. Can we use those?
Oof.
How much longer am I allowed? This is interesting. That whole entire last scene was super interesting. So I'm gonna give Scene of preemptively before we even get started with the experience. I'm giving Illyria Scene of the Night mostly because it, for me as a player, as like an observer to this situation, it's really fascinating to see Illyria just struggle with the concept of who the fuck even am I outside of my duties.
Yeah. Mm.
Do I have wants outside of my duties? That's a tough question to ask.
And the want to know more may be enough. But we'll also give this opportunity to our other players, Kurobe, Kaz, and Lagon, so that everybody kind of has a rundown of what we're doing mechanically for this new arc, as most of you are going to be level 11 and higher. Yes.
Not me dinging 13 before the session. I get to play around with stuff before I even think about that.
Yep. But when we come back next time, hopefully we'll have all of that sort of sorted out as to what, if anything, you want to make as far as a change to your character. But let's get down to some experience, because that will carry over with your new character as well. So that will stay the same. Obviously, Spectre has decided that Alira should get best scene. Anyone in opposition to that?
I will agree with that.
Okay.
And how much experience do we get for this session?
I haven't totaled that up yet. So you get your 5 for showing up, obviously. And
Okay.
then for completing this arc, you're going to get another 10.
Woohoo!
So there's the 15 base, and now the bonus experience, which also includes the chat. So if you guys are wanting to vote for your favorite from tonight, go ahead and throw that in the poll at the top of the chat. So if you don't see it, refresh your browser. But that could be for any reason. That could be for you liked the scenes that they had. You liked you liked the character for just the character art.
The character.
Yeah.
As Rad used to do, he used to vote for me because Zephyr.
Yes, indeed. Indeed it is. And so go ahead and submit your votes there in the poll while we deliberate amongst the cast members who did good for what as far as bonus. And so we'll just go ahead and skip the best scene because Alira gets it because the majority. Unless Derek has an honorable mention that he wants to mention.
Oh, I was gonna give it to Arya because the whole bit of, the whole response. Like, I know that Vanya, the whole "will you marry me" thing was big, but I'm not gonna lie, it was Specs that dragged that over the top in the response.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was perfect.
Oh, yeah. Also, spirit bombing the fucking god of death. What the hell?
At least a big flashy light went up in front of his face.
Yeah.
Maybe of a little bit of a bit of that one-eyed face, maybe
Give it,
burnt off
Patty.
in the process.
Oh yes. Arya go boom.
Arya go boom,
Arya go boom.
which may influence who pushed the plot today. So who did that?
Arya.
Arya.
Oh.
Do you have an honorable mention, Spectre?
Nah, I showed up.
You showed up and showed out.
So wait, who?
So, Alira's getting the best scene, Arya's getting the
Best
best who moved the plot, and next up
Excellent.
is who had our best line from the night.
Marry me.
I agree.
I'll take that, but I have an alternate. Do you want to find out?
Ooh,
That
that's
was
also
good.
very poignant.
That was a good one. But
Yeah.
I don't want to take away from the fact that these lovebirds have been here going at it for a while, and it has been building up. So
There you go.
We're dead. Do you want to get married? Yeah. That's
Look.
fucking cute.
Look, Mordecai and Celine did the same thing. They were going up against a god, and he proposed to her. So,
It's literally just like mirroring.
mirroring the
Step
damn
by step.
campaign.
Give it a chance. Had Vanya actually gotten close enough to her in the fight, she would have asked her like mid-fight. But that didn't necessarily happen.
Nah.
So sure, we're dead. We've got a path back to life. Fuck it.
Well, that does it for that, I guess. That would mean that that Vanya gets her best line from tonight, and we have quite a number of votes going in for the chat to decide who were their favorite right tonight. So far, Arya's in the lead, but that can swing in the next few minutes.
It's been a bidding war.
There is a bit of a bidding war going on. Vanya is ahead by a bit.
One.
Well, it looks like they're
Now there is.
the chat is fighting over who gets. It's an eBay race, y'all. But yeah, completing an arc.
Woohoo!
Yay.
Which I hope you have enjoyed so far.
Oh yeah.
I really do kind of stress about you guys enjoying this game a little bit. I like to.
I love those moments.
Yeah.
Very much do. I'm not gonna lie. I was worried a little bit there, but
I try not to railroad too much, but I had a plan for whether
that's okay.
for whether y'all TPK'd in the fight or whether y'all got through the portal in the fight. It was essentially going to lead to the same scene. So,
Fair.
this is TPK'd, but not really, as it is an opportunity for you to redo your character should you want to. Vanya, you got the audience's favorite with 45 votes and 31,000 channel points from Maddie at the Hero Zone.
Tank shoes.
Shush. Well, with that being said, hopefully we have our monk and our cleric back next week so that we can kind of get their reactions a little bit, because I don't intend to have this scene without them, so I do want to include them next time as part of it. Big Slam, welcome in for first time chatting. I've seen you around, you've just not chatted in my chat before. Yeah, thank you guys so much for playing. Thank you all in the audience for watching, and if you missed any of this episode, I do apologize. Part of that reason is my internet decides it wants to be a real dingus when I go to stream, and sometimes I have to reset it to stabilize it, and I'm currently dropping frames right now.
Yeah, it's getting laggy.
Yeah. So this will be uploaded in 2 parts on YouTube, which, speaking of which, if you haven't subscribed to YouTube, you really should. Do the like, subscribe, hit the bell, all of that YouTube stuff, because my channel doesn't get a lot of viewership from the public, because the algorithm isn't necessarily in our favor. But if you do all the things and you like the videos and things like that, that might give more visibility, so that we get more traction here on the Twitch as well. And if you're on YouTube and you're not a follower on Twitch, you should follow the link in the description, as I will be putting that in there too. So yeah. Oh, I forgot to turn Streamlabs on.
Coffee. That's okay.
Look,
guess what else you forgot to do?
It auto turns off when I also forgot to announce.
Yes.
It auto turns
That's
off
okay.
after
Well,
a
I had
week.
it covered.
The bot turns off after a week if I don't stream. So, but also, I think the sub discounts and things like that for the end of the year are still going on. So if you feel like supporting the channel, gift subs are out there. Some they might be also at a discount depending on if you're a first-time subscriber. So if you feel like helping out the channel, that helps me financially, because I just spent like $35 on a lot of sound assets. So kind of want the channel to be able to pay for that. But yeah, that is where we are currently. So with that being said, let's find somebody to raid, and until we see you again next time, say goodnight, everyone.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.